give you a 3.5 star.
Smack him, will ya?
Hello, welcome to Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. That's Nell.
And that's Scott.
We mixed it up.
So this is the video where Scott makes me explain myself.
Right, so at the end of a book review, I'm like, 4 stars, 2 stars, whatever, and I was like, I don't do ratings.
And don't do ratings, just putting it out there.
And it's really unsatisfying, like, so it's a thumbs up. And when I talk to Nell about a book she's read, and she's like, I liked it, I'm like, so 4 stars, 5 stars? And she's like, no, it's just good.
I don't do ratings, it's stupid.
So, tell me, why don't you do ratings?
Because they're stupid. Because they're stupid. Because they're stupid.
I do sherbet. I think it's stupid.
Look, I feel like this is quite a big, complex answer to what seems like a simple question. But ultimately, I don't think that what I bring to any novel is any more valuable than anyone else's perspective. And I don't think that me giving it 4 stars or 5 stars or 1 star is adding to the conversation. I also believe very strongly that old trite saying, comparison is the thief of joy. I really enjoy book A and whatever I get out of book A. And it may or may not be better or worse than book B. But the act of comparison actually takes away from the moment of enjoyment that I get at the end of book A, just thinking about book A.
Sure. So if I go, what did you like better, To Kill a Mockingbird or Lord of the Rings?
Who cares?
You just don't want to answer that question.
No.
Because you're like, thumbs up to both of them.
I enjoyed both of them in the moment that I read them, and I'm a really big believer that you bring a lot to the reading of a book, and so when you read a book, it's actually, your experience of that is actually really specific, not just to you personally, but to you personally at that time in your life. So
what you see into the book is unique to you, so if you read a theme in the book, the author may not have put it in there, and that's probably really evident with classics, I think.
I think that's definitely part of it, but also you're more susceptible to things that impact you in the moment. Like, I read, no, my brain won't tell me. An Equal Music. I read An Equal Music after a breakup, and the line that stuck in my brain was, "It's love, not a limb." Because that was really appropriate to me at the time, and that has stayed with me for like a decade, more than a decade. I've been with you for a decade, more than a decade. That one line from that book, because of the time in my life when I read it. If I had read that at any other time, that line would have been a throwaway and I would never have retained it. When you read a book, you're reading it in that moment in your life, and the things that are important to you and that are in the top of your consciousness are important to your reading of that book.
So when you reread a book, you often get different quotes out of a book that you
totally
like.
Different experience.
And that could be because you've read the book already and you know what's coming, so that makes it easier. But it also could be because you've been having a good day when you read it, or a bad day.
Or you've learnt about slave labour in chocolate producing countries, you know, like it could be anything.
Let's not go down that route.
But I'm just thinking of the kind of like, there are times when I've read a book and then I've read it again 5 or 10 years later, and I am just more socially aware of one of the character's perspectives, and therefore it becomes more important to me, or more interesting to me what the author has done with that character, because I have a better concept, a better ability to empathise.
So, but what it feels to me like you're saying is like when a newspaper comes out with the 50 books you should read before you're 50, or the 50 best books of modern literature or whatever, you think that that's rubbish, because how can you possibly rate them on value and be fair to everybody?
Well, you can't, because we're not talking about currency. Like, you're not talking about this book is worth $8 because it meets X, Y, and Z criteria. Like, it's not a diamond. You can't measure its clarity, you know, like,
C's.
yeah. You can't. There's no specific criteria that creates value in a book. There is only whether you enjoyed the experience or you did not enjoy the experience. And for me, measuring how much I enjoyed the experience actually takes away from my enjoyment of the experience. So I don't do it.
So you don't think about it. So you've actually answered the question I'd pre-prepared.
Here's what I prepared earlier.
You've really stifled my thoughts there. I'm much less spontaneous when I have to be spontaneous. Yeah. So you don't do your enjoyment either. You find that is.
I'm really happy to say I enjoyed this book or I did not enjoy this book, but I don't think that the star ratings that everyone does on Goodreads is necessary for that, and I don't think it increases the information I'm giving you. Like, if I recommend a book, it's because I enjoyed it. So if I'm saying I enjoyed this book, read it, then I think that's enough.
I can find I changed my star ratings a couple of days after I finished a book. I did that twice in January. Actually, gave the book 3 stars and then went back and changed it to 4.
Because you don't really have a good system. Like, it's not because
it's arbitrary, isn't it?
It is very arbitrary, and I get that Goodreads has made a community rating system, which is probably valuable to people who. Yeah,
look, if any book is more than 4.2 on Goodreads, I think that is a popular book. On the other hand, if any book is less than 3.5, I want to read that book as well.
I don't look at the ratings, because to me it's an average of people's arbitrary rating systems. It's not something that I think about when I'm choosing who I want to read. There's 2 things here. I'm not vain enough to think that my evaluation of a book is correct or important. So I don't think what I have to say, like, it's great that you guys are watching our videos, but I don't think that what I have to say about any specific book is any more important or interesting than what anyone else has to say. And while I'm so eager to be part of this conversation, I don't want to be the reason why you do or do not read a book in your lifetime.
No, I want to be the reason why you read a book, but I don't want to be the reason why you don't read a book.
But if for every book they read, there's a book that they don't read.
Oh, yeah, that's like the ether. Yeah. You got a big bucket of books and you pull one out and you don't know what's left in the bucket when you die. And some people will read more books if they find a book that they like.
Yeah, for sure. I'd really like to encourage people to read more. That's totally something I'm down for being a part of. I had another point. I forgot what it was.
You don't think so? Once you review half a dozen books, and like there are people that we follow on Booktube who, when they review a book and they like a book, because I know that they like 3 or 4 books in common, I take that recommendation more seriously. Then
I definitely think that if you have been listening to Scott and I waffle on about books for a little bit, it's much more likely that you're going to take something that we say seriously, because you have an understanding of the context that it comes from.
Yeah.
And that is much more that is a good way to choose a book versus a 5-star rating graphic on a Goodreads app.
I don't look at the 5-star as a big deal.
No, I don't think many people do. But I'm trying to see what value there possibly could be in it, and I guess some people could use it to choose what they read next.
See, out of everything you've said, the thing that sticks with me the most is it takes away from my enjoyment of the book.
It really does. It takes away from my enjoyment of the book to rate it.
And it doesn't take away from mine, so I do.
Yeah, I think that's fine. And like everything, I think everyone's experience and choice is totally valid. As long as you're not being an asshole about it, who cares?
Don't be Trump.
But don't make me rate books either, because I'll be sad.
Yeah. Alright, is that...
I think I've answered the question.
Yeah.
Have I answered the question to your satisfaction, Mr. Why don't you rate books?
Oh, I'll give you a 3.5 stars.
snacking, will ya?
All right, we've been gun-carted fiction and plot. And remember, ideas are more powerful. They're more powerful than an arbitrary 5-star rating system.
Yes!